You know, we've talked a lot about how the standard cookout fare is hamburgers and hot dogs. Despite how popular chicken is, a lot of people stay away from it when planning a cookout. Why?
Well, I mean, if we're honest, it's pretty easy to mess up chicken. Overcook it and you end up with a dry, tasteless hunk of chewy wet rags. Undercook it and you end up with a need for a lawyer. It doesn't have to be this way. Cooking proper chicken is merely a combination of time and temperature. And chicken thighs are a great, inexpensive item that when done properly, your guests will remember for years to come, and not for the wrong reason. Today, we're going to do 3 different sauces, and we're going to do thighs and breasts on the Weber kettle. Hello and welcome back to Cold War Barbecue. You know, one should never joke about salmonella poisoning, but I think we can all relate to overcooked poultry. Think about an overcooked Thanksgiving turkey. It might look great, but without cranberry sauce, you'd be hard-pressed to choke it down. I think when we're grilling chicken, the average backyard barbecuer tends to overcook it because they're so afraid of undercooking it. While a thermometer can be your friend here, the basic principle's pretty solid. Sear it on both sides, move it to the cool zone, and finish it out. And while I'm no stranger to a good rub, chicken is one of those things that seems to shine the best when it's sauced. So we're going to do 3 different sauces today. The first one's going to be kind of a sweet yet tart sauce. The second is going to be kind of a play on the Alabama white sauce. And finally, we're going to give you step-by-step instructions to jerk your chicken. Yeah.
I was looking for inspiration for the first sauce since we've done sweet sauces before and I wanted something a little different. And then it quite literally fell from the sky. As I was walking under this tree, I got hit in the head with a wild plum. These are awesome, they're sweet, they're tart, and it's going to make a great base for our first sauce. I've done jams and jellies with these little plums before, but I've never done a barbecue sauce. The beautiful interior, I think, will lend an awesome color to it. I always love making use of these wild fruits and vegetables we find out here in the wilderness. Right under this tree was some of these wild cucumbers. These are awesome to eat in a salad, and they're just something you don't see every day. Okay, so to prepare our wild plums for our sauce, first we're going to get them washed up. If you've not heard of wild plums, they have also been called sand plums, sand cherries, Oklahoma plums. There's all sorts of names for them. As you can see, they are about cherry sized. Most of these are pretty red. There's some that have a little green on them yet. We're just looking to get the stems off and, you know, make sure that none of these are all chewed up by bugs or that sort of thing. Alright, these are all clean and looking good, as you can see. So now we're going to fill the pan with water to just covering these plums. We're not going to fill a whole pot or anything like that. We're just trying to get the juice out of them. Onto our burner, and we're going to set this kind of a medium-high heat for now. We want to get the boil started, and then we'll reduce to a simmer. And you can see after just a couple of minutes here, the water's already starting to kind of get yellow from the plum juice. It's already starting to smell good, too. As time goes on here, these will start to pop and open up. We are going to go ahead and kind of give them a helping hand here and just start mashing them down. They started more or less rock hard, and now they've really softened up. So we're just going to mash them a little bit, open those casings, and let that flesh kind of bleed out into the water. And once we've got all these broken up, we'll kind of give them a stir, keep mashing as we go here. I think we're pretty close to getting all of the juice from these that we can. And that is just a beautiful color. So we've got our juice. We're going to go ahead and strain this out. We don't want any of the pulp, the seeds, anything like that. We just want the juice. There's going to be some pulp in there that's kind of dissolved down, and that's great. I mean, we can see here, this is just absolutely beautiful. And now we're back on the stove for a boil, and we're basically making a reduction out of this. We're trying to get rid of a lot of this water, right? And so we see all of those bubbles. And we want this to reduce by about half, so it's a little bit more syrupy. And now that everything's reduced, we're going to start by adding a 1/3 cup of brown sugar. These are very tart, so the sugar will be much appreciated. Give that a stir, and we can see the color is already changing. Next up, we're adding a 1/3 cup of ketchup. This is the base of many a barbecue sauces. Stir that in as well. Then we're going to add a couple tablespoons of a good apple cider vinegar. This enhances the tart, but also adds a delicious flavor note, smell, mouthfeel. And then next up is some Worcestershire sauce. It's about a teaspoon worth. Another stir. Kick off our spices, we're going to start with about a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. Next is a 1/2 teaspoon each of salt and pepper. And we'll give it a stir to incorporate our spice blend. And then we'll finish it off with some hot sauce. Not using anything too spicy here, just something to give it a little bit of a pep. We'll stir to blend it all together. It's just a beautiful color, and the smell is just wonderful right now. At this point, we'll take a little taste test, make sure we don't need to tweak any of our spices. Nope, this is just about perfect as it is. So we'll kill the heat, and we've got ourselves a barbecue sauce. Give this some time to cool, and we'll move on to the next one. Okay, well, in keeping with the theme of elaborate sauces, we're going to make a jerk sauce. We're going to start with 6 cloves of garlic. And to that, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of whole allspice berries. These absolutely need to be whole. You can't use the powdered allspice here. It'll completely ruin the flavor. We'll follow that with 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Do about a teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg. Again, fresh only here. Powdered nutmeg is not going to be ideal for this sauce. About a tablespoon or so of ground black pepper. 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Now we need a tablespoon of fresh grated ginger. Again, do not skimp on this. The freshness of the ginger is really what makes this sauce pop. And then in we go with about a half of a red onion. This is a fairly good sized onion, so I'm doing half of it. Then we're going to go 3 habanero peppers. Now, traditionally, these would be Scotch bonnets, but I don't have any. I didn't grow any this year, and they're kind of hard to find fresh around here. And the freshness makes all the difference. And I've got about 6 stalks of green onion. It's kind of coarsely chopped. It's going to get blended anyway, so don't worry about doing a fine chop on these. Then we're going to hit it with about a 1/4 cup of white vinegar. Don't need anything fancy here. A couple tablespoons of oil, just using regular vegetable oil. And then a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Now I'm using light soy sauce, so I went a little heavier on the salt by about a 1/2 teaspoon or so. We'll finish with a dash of Worcestershire sauce. I do also like to add kind of a splash of lime to this after it's all grated up and I get ready to throw it in the fridge. And we'll give this a blend. We may have to kind of stir it around a couple times just because there's a lot of ingredients. You can pulse it or you can just leave it going. This really ultimately gets blended down into kind of a fine paste, so don't worry about your technique with the blender. Okay, that is looking good. And so we'll pop the top on this and just use a spatula. And yeah, that's the consistency we're looking for. It's very thick, it just smells awesome, and I cannot wait to taste it.
For the white sauce, we're going to start with 1 cup of mayonnaise. One tablespoon of Dijon mustard, a tablespoon of brown sugar. I've got a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper, and smoked salt. A teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, a teaspoon of the hot sauce of your choice, a teaspoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice, a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. And then we whisk, whisk, whisk until it's all combined. It takes a minute.
It's time to get a fire started.
Put that down. Use the small lighter.
I don't know how she could even see me.
There's a window.
Whatever. All right, it is time to put the chicken on. I'll go ahead and sear it first. And we're gonna have to move this around. The main reason I use the Weber this time as opposed to, I don't know, say the Expert grill, is simply about cook surface, right? I'm cooking a lot of chicken. So with chicken, we see these flame ups pretty quick. That's why we've got to be very vigilant and get them flipped quick. See here, we got a nice set of grill marks, nice little char without burning anything. Same here. And coming together nicely here. Notice it's kind of shrinking up. I didn't show much here as far as the trim because there wasn't a whole lot to do. When you're doing chicken thighs or even the chicken breasts, if they've got skin on them, you just want to make sure you get rid of any loose skin flaps because nobody's going to want to eat that. Apart from that, they're pretty simple and straightforward. Now we're going to start rotating our other stuff on there. What we're trying to do here is get some good color on these. And then once we've got that, we're going to back them off to the cool side and we're going to let them finish slowly. Notice good color here, but a little bit white here yet. So we want to make sure we get all of that done because if you want good presentation, this is where you're going to get it. And on the other side, we're really just trying to get rid of as much of that white as possible. Kind of cook all of the sides evenly. See? Mostly white here. And now that's got kind of that golden color. When we move them to the low and slow side, we'll be using thermometers. The conventional wisdom says that 165 degrees is where you want to cook chicken. And I suppose that is correct, that you want it to be there for food safety purposes. But if you pull this chicken from this grill at 165, you're gonna have an overdone bird. Okay, we're at about 140 on the breast, 130 on the thigh. We're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of flipping here. Mostly to check, see everything's looking good, and it sure is, right? Everything's getting white. It's looking, how you'd expect it to look, and that's great. We're gonna move a little closer up front. You can kind of tell, well, you can certainly tell by the look of it, but the feel even, it's just not as done. So we're going to rearrange a bit. It's checked out fine. Flip them back. Okay. Yes, everything's looking good. We're going to let these keep going for a while. We'll probably sauce in about 10 degrees or so. Okay, we're getting close on temp. Full disclosure, I've moved these around just a little bit since last time, because I don't want anything too close to those coals. Our first sauce here is our wild plum BBQ sauce. We're putting this on now while while we're still over the heat, because we want it to tack up a little bit. We want it to get nice and sticky almost. Do a couple with this jerk sauce, being very careful not to get it close to the other one. I do not believe my wife would appreciate this sauce. And then the rest of them, will be for the white sauce. And the breasts I'm not going to glaze at all because I'm going to cut them up and dip. One quick but important point. These have been on for, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes or so now total with the sear and everything. And I did want to point out that as these sit here, the coals burn down. And so it becomes necessary to kind of get them closer to encroaching on where the coals are now in order for the temperature to stay constant. Okay, so it's a day later. It was getting pretty late when we were finishing everything, and we're in the process of moving into a new house, so we got quite a bit going on. Apologies for the delay, although for you it'll be a matter of seconds. So, we did 3 different sauces. We grilled the chicken. First off, how was the chicken?
The chicken was excellent. It was moist and juicy, even the white meat.
That's an important thing to note. I kind of mentioned a little bit. Dark meat does a little bit better if you overcook it. Yet another reason to buy chicken thighs. You can even get chicken thighs boneless, although you're going to spend more money. You know, at that point, the difference in price between breast and thigh is negligible, and then it's just getting the dark meat, which we have done.
Yeah, I mean, and if you want boneless dark meat, it's so easy to do yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And we can show you how to do that on a future video.
Yeah, that's not today. That's not this video.
Not today.
So chicken was good, and we did an awful lot of it.
So much chicken.
And we both had chicken breast
And
chicken thigh, one each. What was your favorite sauce?
My favorite sauce was the white sauce.
The white sauce. And that's not just because you made it,
No,
right?
it is not just because I made it. Now, I have never really experienced a good white sauce like that.
Right.
It was a off-the-cuff, throw together.
Sure. I mean, you knew the theory of white sauce. Yeah.
But I had never made a white sauce before, so I thought, all of this sounds good. Let's put it together. And it was delicious.
That's a big part of not just barbecue, but cooking, right? I mean, you've made a few sauces, you've made a few things, you know what should taste good together, so you've got this theory and you experiment with it.
And honestly, my 2-year-old ate it. She ate a whole lot of it.
That's an impressive thing. She even ate the chicken that was dipped in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unheard of.
For me, I don't know. The white sauce was fantastic, but I absolutely loved the plum sauce.
The plum sauce was so good, and I'm so excited that you found those wild plums.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a thing. You kind of forage, you make use of what you find. As I've mentioned, I've made jam and jelly and syrup and stuff like that with them before, but this is the first time I did barbecue sauce, and I think it turned out
so good. It was almost sweet and tangy at the same time.
Yeah, it's something you don't usually get in a barbecue sauce. You don't usually get that sour note.
Oh my gosh.
And then you didn't try the jerk sauce.
Mama doesn't do spicy.
This is known. But it was fantastic. In fact, it was so good I ended up having some on a salad for lunch. It makes an awesome salad dressing because it is a little bit thicker. It is spicy. There's no getting around that. And I even went, what I would consider light on the peppers with just 3 habaneros. Normally it would be Scotch bonnets and you do 4 or 5. I mean, you can really pep that up as much as you want to. You can even use Ghost or Reaper.
You should have used the Reaper dust that we have.
I thought about it. I thought about the Reaper dust, but I did want it to be more focused on the flavor than just the heat.
For you pepperheads, we can cover Reaper Dust in another episode.
Absolutely, we can. So anyway, I hope you liked what you saw here. Obviously, we experimented an awful lot. I hope you give chicken a chance at your next backyard barbecue. Don't be afraid of it. As long as you've got a good thermometer and you know where your temperatures are, you pull it at 160, it's going to be great.
Oh my gosh, so good. And if you're afraid that your white meat is going to be overdone, because nobody likes dry bird.
No.
Nobody. 165 or 160.
Pull it at 160,
Pull
let
it
it
at
carry
160,
over.
let it rest up to 5 degrees warmer. It will do it on its own. So juicy.
Absolutely. And we'd also love to hear about you jerking your chicken.
Wait, what?
And send us pictures. We want to see you jerking your chicken.
You can't say that on YouTube.
I think you'll find you can. You can say pretty much anything they don't arrest you for. We don't make any money at this. In all seriousness, thanks for sticking around. We hope you learned something. We hope you enjoyed it. You know, if you did, give us a like and subscribe. Share the video. We want to, you know, continue to boost this channel and teach people about making their...
We know a college student that doesn't know how to cook. We know you do.
Absolutely. We all do, right? And we want to teach people how to make their own sauces, how to cook inexpensive meats and make an awesome impression at a backyard party. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, this has been Cold War Barbecue.